Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I hope you're all doing really well, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm here to share with you my pattern review for the Helens Closet Pona Jacket, and I've made this in collaboration with Felicity Fabrics, who have kindly gifted me the fabric for this make, and there is a blog post all about it on their website, which I will link down below for you if you wanted to check that out. I have thoroughly enjoyed this sew. It's been a really nice, easy palette cleanser sew, and it just went together really simply, and it does say on the pattern actually that it is for an advanced beginner, and I would totally agree with that because it is pretty much straightforward and you are just sewing straight lines. So the Pona Jacket by Helens Closet comes in two variations. So you've got the shorter style jacket, which is the one that I have made, and then there is the longer style jacket, and they both have optional patch pockets, and it is kind of a relaxed style jacket as well. The instructions are really simple to follow. I really enjoy Helens Closet instructions. I've used one of her patterns before and they're just so thorough and really easy, and I never struggled at all with this pattern. So the Pona Jacket is a modern outer layer that is easy to make and style. It has an extra wide facing which allows this unlined jacket to drape open in the front. It has no closures, so that's a really good thing, which obviously makes it very easy for beginners. And it has sort of an oversized blazer feel, and it comes complete with pockets and a statement lapel. So basically you can make this as a lined jacket as well if you would prefer that. There is a method on their website where you can sort of follow the step-by-step instructions on how to sort of draft your own lining, but I decided not to do that, and I wanted to have an unlined sort of jacket, and I think it's worked out really well in this fabric. So this fabric is a brushed cotton fabric, and it's a Robert Kaufman fabric, which is available on the Felicity Fabrics website. And if you would like to get yourself some of this, you can use my 10% discount code using Karen10 at checkout. It's a lovely soft brushed cotton which is really warm to wear. It's perfect for this time of year in the UK in October, where it's a little bit chilly, and if you've got a dry day, it's just a nice little layer to put on, and I've really enjoyed wearing it the past couple of days. Yeah, it's quite a nice warm fabric. It has sort of a brushed cotton side, and then the other side, although it still feels fairly soft, there is a distinct difference between the right and wrong side. So the reverse is just a little bit rougher, and I have decided to have the rougher side actually on the outside of the jacket, and that's mainly because I felt that the colour was a little bit more deeper on that side, and I wanted the brushed cotton against my skin. I thought that would be really nice to have sort of softness against my skin. So the Pona Jacket then comes in sizes 0 through to 30, which is US sizes, and like it says, it is kind of a relaxed oversized style, so for that reason I checked out all of the posts on Instagram to see if I could roughly work out what size I should make for my body type, and I decided, yeah, I would definitely need to size down. And I know that Adele from Sew for Serenity and Cara from So Mad have each made the long and short versions, so I checked out their videos just to see sort of what size they went with, and I know Adele had said that she'd made the size 12 and should have sized down to the size 10 really, so for that reason I thought I would go with the size 10. But in actual fact, it's turned out a little bit big for me, and I have had to take it in down the side seams and underarm seams, which has taken it in a little bit, but it's definitely not taken it in enough as to how the pattern should look. So if you look on the pictures here, you can see that it's an open style jacket, and it doesn't close or overlap, and there's no closures for that reason, because it is supposed to fall open, a bit like a waterfall effect with the way that the lapel works out. But yeah, it just worked out a little bit big for me, and I've got quite the overlap on the front. So if I was to make this jacket again, I would definitely size down to the 8 or even the 6. I would have to see, I suppose it would depend on fabric type, but I do have some boiled wool in my stash, a navy blue one, which I would like to make this jacket again, and I would definitely size down. I'll perhaps just go to the size 8 just to be on the safe side, and then I can take it in as necessary. But the seam allowances for this pattern are 1.5 centimetres, so they're quite generous already. So I'll just pan you down so you can see what I mean. So it's got this lovely lapel. I really like that open style, and you could put a thick scarf around it if you wanted to obviously layer it up. I chose to go with the long sleeve option, which is meant to be for the longer style as the shorter style has more of a 3/4 length, but I wanted full length, so I just kept the length at full length. It does have quite a deep cuff on it as well, so you can obviously mess around with the length of your jacket, and if you wanted to, you could turn it back as well if you wanted to have a slightly shorter sleeve, but keep the long sleeve for when you want it longer. So it's got a really nice deep facing, which comes all the way over to here, so you just kind of the way you sew that, it creates a hem, so it's actually shorter than the body of the actual jacket itself, and then it folds the hem up. And I've got a little label here which is from the Specky Seamstress, and that came in my Bias Binding Society box, which I'm subscribed to, but she does sell these on her website as well, so I highly recommend that you go and check those out because they are really reasonably priced, and there's some lovely designs available, and I think it's quite nice to have that on the inside of the jacket. I have actually glued that in with some fabric glue because I didn't want to put stitching around it and have that visible on the outside of the jacket, because I decided not to have the pockets. The pockets are patch pockets, so they're square ones, and you're supposed to put your hands in like this. But I had noticed on Instagram some people had changed that so that they were putting their hands in this way. I did have a go. I couldn't get it to work for me, and I didn't like the way it looked, so I decided to leave it a little bit more streamlined. So as you can see, I've got quite the overlap here. So it is the option, I suppose, to have it that sort of width, and then you could, if you wanted to, add a closure. So I've got some of these invisible magnetic snaps, and I could quite easily, you know, sew one on the inside of the facing inside there, and then put one on the back of this as well, and that would close adequately like that. As you can see, that fits quite nicely like that, overlaps, but it is supposed to be more like sort of like that as a finished garment. I don't mind that it overlaps, but because it's got the dropped shoulder, I felt that I did have quite a lot of excess around here, but so like I say, I've taken it in down the side seams and the underarm seams, and I don't think I would need to take any more off the underarm seams, because if I want to wear a bulkier top underneath, then I would definitely need that room, because it's not lined, it's not got the slippy fabric on the inside to sort of glide your arm in and out. So it just kind of falls like that. So, you know, you don't necessarily have to put a closure on it. It just kind of sits like that as you wear it. I really love this fabric. I love the colours in it. I think it's perfect again for this time of year. And I've got it on with a cocoa top, which I also made from fabric from Felicity Fabrics, and that's just in a cotton jersey, and I think that complements it quite well. I have tried it on with a Naya t-shirt, and that looks quite nice as well, and with an Agnes top, that works really well. I did try it on over a pair of dungarees, but that did not look good at all. It was my floral ones, so there was way too much pattern clashing going on. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out, and when I say it was a quick sew, I literally did it over an evening and a morning. It took me no time at all, because obviously it's unlined. It was a very quick construction, and I didn't bias bind any of the seams on the inside. I actually just used my overlocker. So let me see if I can show you what I did. So I've only got white and navy for my overlocking thread. So I actually picked out some thread from my normal like thread stash, and I've used some threads. As you can see, you can hardly see the overlocking, because I used a pink, a cream, and I think a sort of mustardy kind of colour, and maybe a very, very pale blue. So that has worked quite well, to the point that it's blended in quite nicely. So I didn't feel that I needed to add any unnecessary bulk by using bias binding, which is an option to do. So I've done that for all of the seams, and you can barely see it. So I don't think I obviously would need to bias bind it, but I suppose if you had a fabric that was quite a big contrast in colour with your threads, then I would probably say, if you're doing the unlined version, to use some bias binding, because that would give quite a nice finish as well. But you will need to take into account that that will make the seams a little bit bulkier. It's got, like I say, quite a deep facing, and if I take this off, you'll see on the inside it's also got this facing section here around the top. Now I haven't at the moment stitched in the ditch to hold that in place, so that is one thing that I do need to do. I added a hook on there so I could hang it up, and then I also added this little, it's not metal, but it looks like metal, it just says handmade on it, and that came out of, I think it was my Prim advent calendar last year. So I like that little feature. It's like a rose gold kind of colour. And I did interface the reverse of the facing and also one of the collar pieces. And the interfacing I used, I think I got from Beyond the Pink Door in their advent calendar last year. I think it was from that, or it may have come in a Think Pink box that I had previously. But it's quite a nice woven one, and that's worked really well. It is quite stiff though, so when I first made this I did find the collar was quite stiff, but I think with wear that will relax slightly. But yeah, as you can see, you know, the insides, they're all pretty, you know, pretty streamlined really, with how the overlocking has done, and the way that it folds the hem up naturally, because the facing is shorter than the outside of the jacket. I think that's worked really, really well. It's a really lovely layering piece just to put on at this time of year, and it's really cozy in this fabric, and I just love the way that it kind of falls open. It's quite a smart jacket that you can make over and over again. Whether I would make the long version, I'm not sure. I do like the sort of crop style. I think that works really well with dresses, high-waisted trousers and jeans and that kind of thing. The long one, if you wanted to have it overlapping, you could potentially make a belt to go around it as well to make it more of a proper coat style. But yeah, the sewing skills that you will learn in this is sewing a collar, interfacing and top stitching. And like I say, the difficulty is for an advanced beginner, and I will say that it is a really, really easy sew. The fabric that Felicity Fabrics sent me, I think it was quite a narrow cotton fabric, so they did send me, they didn't actually tell me the amount that they sent me, but there was quite a lot there. But because it was a narrow width, I did use the majority of it up, so I've only got a very small amount left, probably enough to make a very small bag or something, which might look quite nice with this or something like that. So the size I went for was the 10, which is a finished garment measurement of 44 inches for the bust, waist and hips. So it is quite a boxy style. So it does give that oversized kind of look. So if I'd have sized down to the size 8, it would give me a finished garment measurement of 42 inches overall, which I think would work better. Although the size 6 is only 41.5. So there's only half an inch difference between those two sizes. So I could opt to do the size 6, but I'm just worried that it wouldn't fit across maybe my back. And if I wanted to wear a bulkier top underneath, it might be a little bit snug. So I think I would just go down to the size 8 for that reason, and then take it in as necessary if I needed to. Anything else I need to tell you? I printed this at home on my printer, and if you did the full-sized jacket, there is 48 pages, I think, or 47 pages. So there's quite a lot to print and stick together. So I probably would advise to send it off to the printers. But I printed it at home for the shorter version. And so there was only 37 or 38 pages. So it wasn't too bad. And I just printed the size that I wanted to, because it does give you the option of the layers on the PDF. So you can choose what size you want to print off. Or just print 1 or 2 sizes at the same time. But yeah, the instructions, oh, I've just dropped some. Yeah, are really, really good. They give you illustrations and written instructions and tips along the way in like bubbles and things like that. So yeah, that was really handy to have those. It's a really straightforward sew. Yeah, so that is basically my jacket in a nutshell. I'm really pleased with it. I'm definitely going to be making another one. I'm going to do it in the navy boiled wool fabric that I've got, which I think I got from Pound Fabrics a long time ago. So it is a cheaper style wool, but it would work well to wear with lots of different outfits, being a plain one. But this is going to get lots of wear, and I've already worn it a couple of times on the school run, and I'm really pleased with how it pairs with quite a lot of my tops and things, and my jeans and dresses. So yeah, I hope you like it. Let me know if you've made it before, or if you are planning on making it. I highly recommend the pattern. It's just such a simple sew, like I say. So thank you very much for watching today. I will just now insert some photos that I took in the garden for the blog, but you will find that on the blog itself as well. And I'll just put that with some music for you to have a look at, and I shall see you all again soon. So take care. Bye.